Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Shenell Ford. She is an international board-certified lactation consultant, certified perinatal educator. Shenell supports many families during their lactation journey, while also leading local initiatives for Black Breastfeeding Week. She is the founder of Heart2Heartbeat Lactation Wellness. Thank you so much for coming on, Shenell.
Thank you so much. Oh, you are such a joy, and I'm so honored. I'm Shenell, just a overall lover of lactation and all things mamas, babies, families, all the things. Just honored to be able to be a birth worker.
Appreciate you, and I appreciate you wearing our birth nurse shirt.
Hey!
We actually met at a breastfeeding conference, and I took a photo because I thought you were a fashionista. I love your fashion sense.
Oh my gosh. No, I appreciate those photos so much because I remember when we were talking about it and I got like, ooh, because the introvert in me is like, woo, screaming. Just to be able to connect in that way. And that conference was amazing in so many ways. But honestly, just getting the chance to really have that face-to-face time with, people that we interact with, like over social media.
You said you were an introvert. I'm an introvert too. And that's why it's important for these sessions, like the session with you, to be focused on who you are and how you show up in our community. How did your journey lead you to focus on maternal health?
Oh my goodness. I feel like with so many of us, when we come to this work, it's because of our own experiences. So I'm a mama of 2 boys who were formerly breastfed. And honestly, with my first son, just that experience of going through the journey of lactation, trying to figure things out. I had some examples of breastfeeding in my family, but not too much. And I didn't know too much about breastfeeding, about lactation. Had no idea it was like a whole career at that point. Just with the things that I encountered from my prenatal experience to just the supports that I did have within my family, within my immediate friend circle, even to a certain degree in the community. But overall, it wasn't what it should be. I encountered the racism. I encountered the microaggressions. I encountered the bias. All of these things that we see show up in the statistics, right? So to actually live that, especially as I was going through it myself, and then especially when I had my second son, I had a lot of trouble. By that time, I was already, working in the field, had a certification, just trying to do my little thing over here. And we struggled for a good 2.5 weeks. It was definitely a moment for me, especially with each of them, the experiences that I had breastfeeding both of my babies. I just knew there was something that I needed to do. I didn't quite know what that was yet.
But it was a calling.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely a calling. And it's one of those experiences and one of those journeys that you go through it and you may not recognize what's actually happening as you're going through it. You sense something. You sense you're being pulled towards something, but not really sure of the destination. But I am so grateful to God because He kept me on that path, because I tried to run from it. And I'm like, no, this is not for me, because I don't know how this is going to be sustainable. I don't know any of these things that, you think about, especially when you have kids. But I am so just immensely grateful for this journey, for birth work, for my sisters in this work, for honestly, even my brothers in this work that really ground me and really allow me to advocate. It started with my own babies. And then now they are 11 and 12. My oldest is going to be 13 soon. And they are fascinated with birth work.
Created little birth workers?
Yes. And I am here for it all. And they are invested, they are interested. And my oldest is like, well, can I be a lactation consultant? Do guys do that? And I'm like, yes. You absolutely can. It's a beautiful thing to see in such young ages. We don't do this work for gratification. We don't do it for ourselves, right?
Right.
It is amazing. When I look at my kids and I hear their conversations and how they're able to make these real connections and, even ask about their birth stories. And, just say, like, what was it like? What did that feel like, Mom? And I'm just like, what did it feel like? Those conversations heal me.
Absolutely.
And then it's just like, oh my gosh, like what a beautiful representation.
I feel like I got to sit back and just sit with what you just said and process it, because it just feels good to be connected with someone who is just as passionate about supporting the community. Because you mentioned men also birthing people. We use inclusive language around.
Absolutely.
But the fact that your son, right, wants to become someone who's an advocate, like that means that his family is going to benefit from what you do. Right?
The tears are going to start. I'm trying to keep them off. But yeah, absolutely. It's generational. We talk so much about like the generational traumas and those types of things that are passed down. But this idea of that generational joy that we're able to pass down is everything.
It's so healing. This is a fun question. And it's more personal about you. What are 4 emojis that describe you, like as a person?
Oh my goodness. The yellow heart, definitely. And I feel like that's the one I use all the time anyway. It's like my top emoji. But hearts have always been my favorite. Yellow is my favorite color. And it's just one of those things that honestly, it centers me. Probably the cheesy emoji, like the really like happy one. I try to be as optimistic as I possibly can and like really intentional about that, regardless of what's going on. And especially given everything that's happening now in the world, there are so many reasons and so many things that are coming up against joy. The fire emoji, because again, like this fire that birth workers have, we are upset, we are angry, there is rage, right? It's about channeling that fire because we need to make sure that stays lit. There again is so much at stake here. We always have to be mindful and keep that motivation, because it's like, no, we're going to have so many things trying to dim our light. But then, I mean, fire is not always, a bad thing. It's the light of it. It's what we bring to this work.
The 4th emoji?
Oh, goodness. 4th emoji. Probably the hug emoji. And that was one, like, I don't use too much, but it's funny, like, I'm seeing it more. But I'm a hugger. And like, hugs are healing, right? Both of my sons, so in tune, like emotionally, it's fascinating and kind of scary sometimes. We want to shield our kids, some of the, heavy emotions. Definitely want them to see that we have these heavy emotions. But while we're kind of going through the process of things, it's like, no, I don't want to dump that on you. I've actually had a day like that yesterday. Here comes my youngest. And it's like, he just knew. He just gave me the biggest hug out of nowhere. Oh. And like, he just came like from the side. He just like hugged me from the side, and then he spun around and then got me. And I'm just like looking down, and I'm like, what's that for? He's like, I just wanted to give you a hug. It was so, quote unquote minor, right? But that was huge for me because the day that I had, I needed that hug. It grounded me. It was just like, yeah. So the hug emoji.
How can we make breastfeeding more normalized in our community?
Normalizing these conversations, really allowing this dialogue to happen authentically, and being unapologetic. And honestly, I can say, and it's not something that comes easily. It's my journey through lactation. I've been, oh goodness, it's been a little over 10 years.
Wow.
Which is wild to say. I'm different now. This unapologetic nature, being in circles and in community with these fierce,
yes.
fierce, i.e. you, are in that number, being in community with these forces, right? That, again, allow this to just be, actually go through that progression and honestly be able to look back and see where I started and see where I'm at now and see where I want to still go is a beautiful thing. And it was one that I'm just like, whoo, I'm grateful for that.
I often wonder if being an introvert plays a role in how you show up for clients.
I agree. And honestly, something that, one of your taglines is like with the shirt and stuff too. Okay, like introverted, but willing to discuss
Yeah.
XYZ.
Yeah.
So I definitely insert lactation into that because I really feel like that has allowed me to show up in the way that I show up because just of how my mind works in that way. And I'm more apt to go to bat for somebody without even thinking about it. I'm getting better at showing up for me and advocating for me. But I definitely can relate to that.
I don't speak up unless it's something I'm passionate about. And when I become passionate, I become very vocal. Is that you too?
Like that's when it comes out because then like when I say I'm introverted, nurse, they're like, huh? They're like you? But I'm like, no. If you like, nope, like, no, like this space, this is the time you hear me.
Are there resources that help you push through challenges?
I'm out in Springfield, Western Mass. You have a growing birth worker community. We have, some amazing doulas that are doing beautiful work out here. We collaborate with each other quite often. And again, sisters in the work. We talk about community and what that looks like, what that feels like, and the sharing of resources and breaking out of silos and all of the things. Definitely, I go to, my breasties. There's one in particular, Maureen Mendoza, who is such a beautiful soul. And I would not honestly be in the space that I'm in without her. And I have so many heroes in the work as far as like maternal child health, but also just in public health in general in my community that I have been able to learn from and really just kind of just like sit under and just take in all of their wisdom. Then as far as like even branching out, I'm now part of a birth justice fellowship, and to be able to tap into the phenoms that are these fellows is again one of those opportunities that I'm still pinching myself that I get to be a part of. From the conferences, being able to connect, with individuals within, just the lactation field, or not just the lactation field, but again, just overall across the entire birth working landscape.
What role does mental health play in breastfeeding success or lactation success?
What I say, it's everything. Just being, again, honest with ourselves. And being in a position that we allow ourselves to feel. Because it's not always going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not always going to feel good. There are so many different things that we're experiencing at the same time. So to be able to tap in, to that and honor everything that we're feeling and recognize that it's okay to not be okay, all the time. But then at the same time, knowing that, no, we have support.
Thank you for hanging out with us on the Birth Nerds podcast. If you loved today's episode, make sure to follow, rate, and share with your fellow birth nerds. Don't forget to check out our shop, birthnerds.com. We've got stickers, apparel, and gear made for birth workers, lactation lovers, and parenthood advocates just like you. Next up, we have a future midwife. You may not always catch us on social media, so join our emailing list to get updates on new episodes, events, and all things nerdy. Until next time, keep showing up, speaking up, and nerding out.